All right. So, hi everyone. I'm so happy to see you today. So, this is your session on avoiding plagiarism. All right. And basically, this whole day is all about study skills. So, you will be doing plagiarism, you will be working on critical thinking. You will be doing effective presentations and basic email writing. So these are some of the skills that you should have as students of Venus. And I'm pretty sure in your high schools, you've done a lot of this as well. Yeah. So this is just a reinforcement of what you have already been exposed to in your high school life. All right. So for today's session, we will start off with plagiarism. My name is Frank, by the way. I'm the manager of the Language Center, and I teach academic English, and I teach communication as well. And I teach both in the undergraduate and graduate program of Venus. Okay. Um, so let me just share my screen with you, my slide with you. Give me a few seconds to do that. Okay, so I see 28 participants in the room, so that's a good number, okay? All right. Right. So, does any one of you have a very brief description or a very brief definition of what plagiarism is? You can always raise your hand if you need to say something, or you just type it up in the chat box on your screen. Okay, what it is and what you can do about it. But before I continue, I'd like to have a very quick exploration of what you already know about the concept of plagiarism. Anyone can tell me? You can type it up in the chat box. All right, so let me see what you've been typing. Copy paste, basically. All right, thanks, Karsten. Copying other people's work, all right, copying people's idea without source or permission, unoriginal, all right, basically claiming something is yours and it's not yours to begin with. Okay, very good, very good. Accidentally or intentionally using other people's ideas and work in your own work. Okay, very good. Those are two important terms: accidentally or intentionally. All right. Okay. Keep them coming. Basically, it's stealing. All right. So that's according to Darren. Yeah. Nathaniel said claiming something is yours. Okay. Um, so very good concepts here. Um, what else? Copying people's idea without source or permission. Okay. All right. So you basically know what plagiarism is. Yeah. Okay. So what this session is all about is we will try to reinforce your beliefs about plagiarism or dispel whatever misconception you have plagiarism. And then later on, we will do some activity in order to further strengthen your ideas about plagiarism. Okay, so basically, this is something that is frowned upon in the academe. It is frowned upon even in other industries. Okay, even in your professional life later on. So it's something that you should not do, basically, right? Okay, so let's move on. So in the next hour, okay, we will be talking about this very important concept. Do you know these men? Do you know these people on your screen right now? And I wonder what they have in common. Okay, you can type them up in your chat box again. Okay. All right. Well, yes. So you know them. Copying lyrics. Okay, great. Okay. Weirdly enough, no. Okay, that's funny. Okay, yes. Okay, but yeah, we are not, we don't have to know everyone, right? Okay, so, but you're not weird. You're not being weird at all. To be honest, I didn't know all of them until my friends told me or my colleagues told me, right? Okay, so yeah, so I'd like to introduce you to Robin Thicke, Marvin Gaye, and Pharrell Williams. So basically, what do they have in common? At least for now, you know that they are all from the music industry, right? Okay, so they're from the music industry. And what do they have in common? Plagiarism. Okay, so as I said in the beginning, plagiarism does not only happen in the academy, in the universities or in schools, but they also happen in industries, in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, and so on and so forth. So, can you imagine Pharrell Williams and Robin Thicke to pay $7.4 million to Marvin Gaye's family over blurred lines? So, it's basically copying song lyrics or something like that. And that's a whopping, how do you read that in rupiah? Okay. So that's a lot of money. And that is how plagiarism can cost you. All right. So even popular people are not spared from the scourge of plagiarism. Yeah. And so this session includes the definition and types of plagiarism. I'm very happy you have a very strong foundation or very solid concepts of what plagiarism is. So kudos to your teachers in high school who prepared you very well. All right, so we will define and categorize plagiarism into types. We will also talk about, more importantly, about the consequences of plagiarism on campus. So all universities have policies on plagiarism, wherever you go. Even your schools had policies on plagiarism. And then, of course, we would like to avoid plagiarism, right? And finally, I'm going to give you the available support that we provide for you to avoid it. Okay, later on, perhaps some of you have already made use of Turnitin as software, right? Okay, so that's something that I will explain to you later on. Okay, so these are basically your definitions, okay? So I don't have any work to do here anymore. You just already told me what plagiarism is, okay? So basically, it is using someone else's ideas, passing them off as your own, just like what you said in the chat box. And plagiarism can be intentional or unintentional, as you said, okay? So, but, all right, whether it's intentional or unintentional, plagiarism in this university is the same, okay? But we treat them like, treat them differently, but yeah, we still label that as plagiarism. And so in academic English classes later on, maybe in your first semester, some of you will be taking it in the second semester, and so on and so forth. We will be teaching you the finer points of avoiding plagiarism. But for this session, I am just introducing you to the concepts, okay, to the very broad concepts of avoiding it, of defining it, classifying it, and so on and so forth. What you have on your screen right now are some of the types of plagiarism. So I think a handful of you already told me about the definition as copy paste, okay, of plagiarism as copy paste, okay. That's just one of the types of plagiarism. In fact, there are other cases or other instances which can be labeled as plagiarism, okay? I'm going to be quiet for now. I'd like you to have a look, to have a close look, a close read of your screen right now, maybe for a minute, okay? As you see the types of plagiarism on your screen. All right, so let's have a quick run through, yeah? So material copied verbatim, meaning word for word from the text and the source acknowledged in line, but represented as paraphrased, okay? So That means you put in the source there in your work, right? But you copy the words of the source without putting any quote marks, for example. So as a reader of your work, I will see or I will consider that as your own words, but the idea is from the source, okay? And that's a no-no, all right? So that is an example of plagiarism. So you acknowledge both the words of the of the author and the author himself or herself, okay? That is the way to borrow, the right way to borrow from your sources, okay? Now, why do you borrow from your sources? Okay, so that is, you're no longer writing creative pieces, okay? In a lot of your classes, you will be writing academic writing, meaning you will be writing from your sources. You will be using a lot of other people's ideas in your own writing, okay? To bolster your own stand on an issue or on a topic, to support your opinion, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of reasons why you make use of sources in your own writing, okay? Now, let's just move on to the next type. So, material paraphrased from the text without inline acknowledgement of the source, okay? So that's another concept right there, okay? You do not acknowledge the source, but you paraphrase his words. So his ideas are not acknowledged in your work. So that's another example of paraphrase, okay? So that's another example. Oh, that's me, by the way. I'm so sorry. Your screen was blank, okay? So, all right, so let's go back to the second type, yeah? So material paraphrased from text without inline acknowledgement of source. Inline acknowledgement is your citation of sources, yeah? Okay, so there are different formats or ways by which to cite your sources, and popularly, especially for business schools, you use the APA format. In high school, a lot of you use the MLA, I'm pretty sure, okay? So that's the second type of plagiarism. The third one is you copy another person's work, maybe your best friend, okay? So obviously that's plagiarism, right? Even if you gave permission to your friend, that's still plagiarism, obviously, okay? The next one is basically copy paste. Material copied verbatim from text without inline acknowledgement of the source, yeah? Verbatim means word for word. And the next one is same assignment submitted more than once for different courses. Yes, this is what you call recycling, I'm sorry, or sometimes it's called self-plagiarism, okay? So you cannot plagiarize yourself. You cannot earn 2 marks for one submission that you did, all right? So that's not fair. So you cannot plagiarize yourself, all right? And you cannot ask a third party, all right, to write for you. That's what you call ghost writing, okay? So do not hire a ghost writer because your lecturers know how you write. And then all of a sudden you turn in a very polished piece of writing, okay? Then that's obviously punishable, all right? There's a consequence for that, yeah? And your lecturers are trained to point out differences in the way students write, yeah? And then, of course, the last one is purloining, basically stealing. Some of you or one of you pointed that out, that plagiarism is stealing, yeah? So you basically copy from another student's assignment or another person's papers without the person's knowledge, yeah? Okay. Now, what do we consider plagiarism in BI, all right? So I want to have a close look or a close reading of what is considered plagiarism in BI, or Venus International, that is. Okay, so what can get you into trouble? Copying the work of another student. directly copying any part of another person's work, summarizing the work of another person without acknowledgement, using or developing an idea or thesis derived from another person's work without acknowledgement. So you see there that it's all about acknowledging your sources. And what basically is acknowledging your sources? It is showing in your piece of writing that this idea came from someone else. And that someone else is usually an expert in the field. Why have I been talking about writing? Yeah, because university work involves a lot of writing. Okay, so that is what differentiates you, of course, from someone else who does not do a degree program. Okay, they might not have a lot of writing. Okay, because university work requires a lot of idea generation, requires a lot of you taking a stand or arguing a topic and so on and so forth, being critical about everything. Okay, so that's university work. Okay, and then of course you will learn practical things in school or in university as well. But one way to deepen your understanding of a topic is to show that understanding in the form of writing. Okay, so there. And using experimental results obtained by another person without acknowledgement, that can also get you into trouble. Recycling your past work, so that is what you mean by self-plagiarism. Okay, now what happens if you're caught plagiarizing? So the consequences can range from getting a 0 for an assignment to expulsion from Venus International, especially if you've plagiarized a major examination. Yeah, we've had a few cases before, okay, but in the past semesters, we have not encountered any case of plagiarism that resulted in expulsion or being kicked out of the university, or in the terminology of some students dropped out. Yeah, okay, so we haven't kicked out anyone or expelled anyone from Venus, thankfully, in the past few semesters. So basically, because students know what the consequences of plagiarism is, all right? So how do your lecturers, let's go to the other side of the fence, right? So how do your lecturers detect plagiarism? Yeah, so as I said in the beginning, people have their own style of writing, and the lecturers know that, okay? So they might detect that, oh, this guy did not write this essay, okay? When the academic writing of the student does not match the voice they have previously generated, this makes the lecturer pay more attention to your writing, okay? That is what I was saying. And the lecturer may use turnitin.com. So that is the software that we use in Venus International, okay? So your lecturers will create Turnitin submissions for you. I mean, Turnitin student accounts for you if they require some piece of writing, okay? All right, and that is a plagiarism detection software, but we use it not to catch you plagiarizing, but we use it to help you write better, okay? And the lecturer will continue to follow your academic output more closely. So yes, so that's how lecturers are trained to detect plagiarism. Yeah. Okay. So later on, we'll talk about Turnitin more closely. I'll show you. Who among you has used Turnitin before? Can you type it up in the type box, please? All right. So all right, great. Hmm. Nope. Yes, I have. I did. Yes, great. Okay, so some of you have a good experience of Turnitin. Some of you do not. So, but don't worry. It's fairly easy to use. Very easy to use. Simply have to upload your work onto the software. Okay. All right. Why do some students plagiarize? Maybe they have poor paraphrasing skills, poor language ability, um, they cannot manage their time, and so they rush into things and they leave things at the very last minute. And after that, oh, okay, I have no more time to write my own, I'll just copy. Okay, so there. So sometimes plagiarizing can be a result of a lack of time management on the part of students, right? Okay, and I feel like course is too difficult for me, the level is too high for me, I'm not interested. Okay, I'm not going to create an effort. Yeah, I'll just pass whatever I copied from the internet. Yeah, personal factors as well. Well, yeah, let's perhaps some students are not motivated, and so they just copy and paste, right? So that is something that we should all avoid, right, as learners. Now, so how do you avoid plagiarism? Yeah, okay. So citation and paraphrasing are important skills. So citation means you cite your source, meaning you write in the author whose idea you used in your writing. Yeah, so that's what you mean by a citation. And paraphrasing is restating your own um, restating someone else's ideas into your own words or using your own words. Yeah, okay, so that's paraphrasing. Strong original research. Yeah, okay, so someone pointed out originality in the beginning, and that is highly encouraged. That's how you avoid plagiarism. Yeah, so you put forward your own ideas. Note taking, okay, so you don't lose track of sources. So no, basically, um, managing your sources is important, and time management, obviously. All right, there. Now, so we have already so far talked about some skills, right? Citation, paraphrasing. So referencing um, is the general term, is the umbrella term, if you will, all right, is the umbrella term to use or to use for to use as a system. Okay, so that's the word I was looking for. To use as a system to acknowledge your sources. Yeah, so referencing is a standardized method of acknowledging your sources. So as I said in the beginning, so you can make use of APA, MLA. So another survey for you. Type it up in the chat box. If you have used a referencing system before, what kind of referencing system have you used in high school? All right, so let me check. APA, oh, very good. So a lot of you use APA, MLA, Harvard, and so on and so forth. Okay, so yeah. So generally, these are the two popular ways of referencing your sources. Yeah, MLA, APA. For business courses, it's usually APA. And so for computer science, you might be asked to do IEEE later on. If you, this is a computer science group, right? So when you write your thesis later on, they will ask you to make use of a different referencing system. Yeah, okay, but that will wait later on. What's important right now is that you know the concept. Yeah, so this is a technical part of putting in your sources, and referencing always follows the prescribed format of a particular organization like APA or MLA or IEEE in the case of computer science students later on. Yeah, okay. Now let's continue. So when to reference direct quotations. So when you use direct quotations, meaning you make use of the exact words of the author, then you can make use of direct quotations. When you use facts, figures, ideas, and theories that's not common knowledge, then you have to cite your source. Okay. Listen to this. Indonesia is the world's largest archipelago. Common knowledge or not common knowledge? Type it up in the chat box. Indonesia is the world's largest archipelago. Common knowledge or not common knowledge? Not common, not common, common, not common. Okay, so I see different answers here. Interesting. Pretty common, uncommon. Okay, I'm from Indonesia and I don't know. Okay, all right. Well, Indonesia is the world's largest archipelago. Okay, so not common, not common, not common. Wow. Okay. Well, now you know. All right. So now you know that that piece of information is actually common knowledge. Yeah. All right. It may not be common to you, okay, but it can be common to a lot of people. Now, how do you judge whether some information is common knowledge or not common knowledge? So the kinds of information that appear in a lot of sources, technically in at least 5 different sources, that's common knowledge already. Yeah, okay. It appears in encyclopedias, that's common knowledge, okay? But it does not hurt to put in your source. If you are in doubt about that information being common knowledge or not, then you just have to cite your source. You don't lose anything in citing your source, yeah? But let's agree that Indonesia is the world's largest archipelago, okay? So Indonesia is an island state or an island nation composed of thousands of islands, making it the world's largest archipelago. And so that is common knowledge, okay? If I say that Indonesia is the world's largest exporter of nickel, is that common knowledge? Type it up in the chat box. Not common. No, 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 no. Okay, we all agree, I think, that it's not common knowledge. And that is where you need to put your source. Okay? So there. The earth is round. That's common knowledge. Yeah? Okay. Now, also, when do you reference? So, information rewritten in your own words. Let's move on. So, information rewritten in your own words. So, when you paraphrase or summarize people's work, it's still not your idea, not your idea. So you have to cite your source. So you cite your source for their ideas and for their words, but you cannot quote their words all the time. And so you have to paraphrase, yeah? You have to summarize their ideas, making use of your own words. That is why in the beginning we talked about paraphrasing skills, yeah? So you reference information from books, journals, the internet, videos, radio, lecture notes, or even personal communication. Yeah? All right. APA referencing format. Okay, let's talk about this very quickly now. So that is what it looks like, right? Okay, if you're asked to make use of the APA referencing format. So source is Brown, that's the author, 2000 is the year of publication, and the page number, all right? If you are making use of a direct quotation with fewer than 40 words and double quote marks, okay? So a direct quote with fewer than 40 words, okay? So you put that in quote marks, all right? And if it's a long quote, more than 40 words, then you can put that in a set of quotes. So it's further indented into the text, okay, or into the essay or into the research paper. And usually it's spaced single, all right? It's single spaced, and therefore you set it in a set of code like that. And in this case, there's no need for a direct quotation. You simply have to put in Brown 2000 and the page number, those 3 all the time, for long quotes and for short quotes, yeah? Okay, and then of course, so that's the citation in the previous slide. So that's what you call a citation. And then at the end of your work, then you have your references. Yeah, okay. I will not teach you how to do the references here, all right, in this session. You will learn that uh, uh, in detail in academic English classes, all right? But this is just to give you a quick overview of what a reference entry looks like in the APA format. Okay, so that's the author's name, that's the year of publication, the title, the place of publication, and the universe. I mean, and the press that and the publisher that is. So all of these things can now be seen online, right? Okay, so if you are consulting the APA referencing, then just type it up in the apastyle.org. Yeah. Okay, that's the website, apastyle.org. All right, so this is for a journal article from the internet. Okay, so this can be found as well in the apastyle.org website. Okay, so they are the ones that published this reference style. Okay, if you have a web page, what I'm saying is you don't have to memorize the entries now. I'm just showing you that there are different formats for different kinds of sources. Now it's the web page format, okay? So there are kinds of information that you have to include if you are consulting a source from a website, if you are consulting a source from a journal article, if you are consulting a source from a book, okay? All right. Help available to you, all right? So, yeah, so we are called the Language Center, and then of course we have English Clinic. If you need some one-on-one consultations with us, you just have to get in touch with us, all right? Or you just have to get in touch with Student Services and they can refer you to us, yeah? Most of you, or all of you, will actually learn academic English later on in your regular semesters. Yeah, it doesn't have to be this semester. I think for computer science, it's going to be in the next few semesters to come. Okay, obviously before you write your thesis. Okay, so because in thesis writing, you learn a lot of or you use a lot of citations. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is what Turnitin looks like. Yeah. So this is what Turnitin looks like. So what Turnitin does, it gives you a similarity report. Take a look at the percentages there. Yeah. So 0 to 21. Yeah. So that means 21% is the similarity report, which means that your paper, if that is your submission, looks a lot like 21%, okay, from a website, from another source, or from a database. So it compares your work to other people's work in the very large Turnitin database. So 21%, is that allowable? Perhaps yes, perhaps not, yeah? But here in Venus, it's 20%. So you should not go beyond 20%, okay? Oh, similarity. Okay, take a look at this on the screen here. So this is what Turnitin does. All right, so it generates a similarity score. So here, as I said, so this one is 42% similar, okay? Now, what is the problem text here? So you are given, the lecturer is given highlights, all right? So your text becomes highlighted, and that is where the lecturer focuses his attention to, okay? All right, so he will do a further screening with that, but 42% is quite high, yeah, so maybe he'll ask you to revise and so on, depending on your agreement in class, yeah? So I said, we use this for you to write better, all right? So to sum up, plagiarism is basically stealing. It is morally wrong, all right? It is unethical, and you do not give credit where credit is due, and plagiarism is a failure to intellectualize, all right? So you don't have
an original contribution to knowledge if you plagiarize. All right, so pretty much plagiarism is a bad thing, right? Okay, now how many are in the room right now? Let's do some activity. So this session ends at 10, all right? I'm gonna share with you some cases of plagiarism and let's analyze some cases, yeah? All right, let's analyze some cases. And therefore, I will put you into groups, okay? I will put you into a breakout session. Um, so those are the references. I will put you into breakout groups right now. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Because of the limited time, we couldn't accommodate everyone to do the group activity. Okay. So this is what we were trying to achieve. Yeah. I'm sharing with you a file. This is an example case. Okay. So now let's just do it in a bigger class. Yeah. So no time for group activity. Sorry about that. Let's read one plagiarism case. Okay. All right, so in the table, I hope you are done skimming through. In the table that I just shown you, all right, which is this one. Okay. So what is the consequence of plagiarism for Madonna? All right, type it up in the chat box. I think it's there. All right. So what, I will probably not ask that question then. So Madonna had to face a fine of more than 100,000 euros, right? Okay. So that's the consequence for Madonna, and it's in the music industry. Okay. So that's one case. Another case was about the Hungarian president Schmidt, who quits in a plagiarism scandal, all right, as you're seeing on your screen right now. Sorry, this was supposed to be a group activity, but I'm just giving away the answers to you right now, okay? So this is another plagiarism case, and it happened in Hungary, involving the president of that nation, right? And what's the main point of the article? Schmidt copied the work of two other academics for his doctorate degree, for his dissertation or his thesis. And how is plagiarism defined? He copied other people's work. Consequence of plagiarism for him, his doctorate degree was revoked or was taken back, all right? The university revoked the degree. He's no longer called a PhD or a doctor, all right? And he resigned from his position as a president out of shame. All right. And perhaps something that you learned today, or something new that you learned today, is that plagiarism comes with a serious impact. In BI, in Venus International, it can be a possible expulsion, right? Expulsion from the university. Okay. So that is all, folks. That is what we are talking about. We have just discussed today. The consequences of plagiarism, the kind of help that is available to you, and the kind of skills that you need to have in order to not to plagiarize your work. Okay. So thank you all very much for coming, and I'm sorry about the limitation in the time. We couldn't work on the case studies, but there you go. You have at least 2 case studies to work on, and it's on your screen right now. Yeah. Okay. So if you have any questions, always feel free to email or get in touch with lecturer services or student services, and get in touch with your very efficient freshman leaders, okay? And they are on your screen right now, monitoring or assisting us with the smooth management of the freshman year program, okay? So I'll probably give you 30 seconds to read this. Otherwise, then I'll see you all hopefully face to face next time, yeah? And then you may leave the room.